Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video to the channel. A slightly different video for the early video today, but Jagex have released a dev blog on the Thieving Rebalance. So because of the update which we had to the early game rebalance on Monday, thieving, especially on the high tier level pickpockets, really got harmed to the point where it was kind of counterproductive. But now we have a development blog about thieving and rebalancing thieving with the high level pickpocketing update. It's kind of one of them things where they've made more work for themselves by doing the changes to the high level thieving, but the fact that they're addressing the sort of feedback, mainly criticism of what they've done to the high level thieving is good, but this was totally unnecessary if they just have left the thieving method alone. However, from what this sort of blog kind of overviews, they still want to make some changes to where thieving used to be, so they don't want to make it a full 15-minute AFK, but I do think what they've sort of pitched in this blog does seem to be a nice medium place as well. So as always, when it comes to things like blogs and stuff, I am interested in your opinions. What do you guys think to this? Do you think this is the right sort of solution to what they were trying to pitch compared to what we had? Or do you think that thieving could be changed a little bit more based on what the updates are? Now, as always, Jagex are looking for feedback from us, the players, which again, compared to what we've had over the past couple of years, is a massive milestone. We need to sort of hype this up because it really is something which we've asked for such a long time, and they're doing it so well. They are communicating in such a free sort of manner at the minute, and we need to really big that up because that's something we want going forward, and I think that can really help impact the game. So if you haven't seen the video which we did on Monday, which went over sort of the effects of high level thieving, basically thieving beforehand was pretty much a full 15-minute AFK at certain spots. So for an example, we're going to focus on the Menophyte market guards here. I could sort of sit there with the aura activated and have a full 15-minute AFK without getting caught. Now what they did with thieving is basically when you unlock a monster at a certain level, let's use level 100 for an example, you would start at a 75% successful chance to pickpocket that monster and basically have 10 free pickpockets before your rate would go down 1% for every pickpocket. Now if you were 25 levels higher, you would get 25% on top of that original base rate, so you would be 100%, and every level above the unlock level would add 1% onto your base rate. And it basically followed that, but what it created was the fact that where before it was 15 minutes of pure AFK Menophyte guards, you were getting caught after 2 minutes. So it massively hampered the amount of AFK-ness, which these thieving sort of monsters were praised for being. All the pickpockets for thieving now, especially after 120, they were so AFK, which gave people who didn't have time to fully play the game access to be able to do the thieving skill and enjoy the thieving skill as well. So to start this, we're going to talk about what they mean by predictable AFK. So predictable AFK is not a version of AFK where you get a full 15 minutes, which I do sort of own up to the fact I do think the full 15-minute AFK is a bit harmful to the game ethics and the principle of playing the games. What they're looking to do is baseline AFK times moving close to 4 to 6 minutes, aligning more naturally with buffs like Crystal Mask and other stuff like that as well. And it means that players who invest further into levels, gears and additional boosts can extend their window further, which is good. That means that you would have a base amount of sort of AFK time, 4 to 6 minutes, again, very AFK compared to some methods. But then also if you went and got things like the camouflage outfit, the aura, RDK, the Macaw, which gives you the +4 thieving boost as well, and also the Ring of Vitor, all those sort of boosts would add on to your AFK time, which again, pushes people to go to progress for certain armors and stuff, which is what you want. You want people to go and get all the things which are going to make stuff more AFK. And it's not just a free AFK, which it kind of was in points, especially admittedly not the high level stuff. The high level stuff, you needed stuff to be able to AFK it, but people like myself on 7 Day Bond who went and did the normal archaeologist in the archaeology guild, that was a full AFK, 15 minutes, at maybe 90 thieving, and I didn't even have all the gear for it as well. So that is what they're sort of targeting with that. So in terms of the proposed changes, at high levels, these changes will significantly extend the guaranteed save period before any chance of failure, roughly doubling to ×2 the current baseline of skills and buffs. They're also looking at slowing down how quickly failure chances increase once it does apply. Again, like mentioned, the base rate AFK timer to be closer to around the 4 to 6 minute range, and impact of gears, buffs and other stuff really going to enhance your AFK time thieving. So they're looking at adjusting the Sticky Fingers relic as well, so it no longer causes players to fail significantly faster under the new mechanics, which was a big thing. Sticky Fingers was so useful from this thieving update, and it went backwards hard, like a lot of things, but Sticky Fingers was one of the things which was the most affected. They are going to add clearer in-game messaging when an NPC becomes suspicious, with aim of making you guys more aware when you're going to get caught. The suspicious state now means there's a chance of failure with continued pickpocketing. You'll need to check a different target not to get caught. The chance of being caught if you remain on the same NPC without clicking will begin to decrease over time when they become suspicious. So this mechanic is very much like the Elf City ones. So with the Elf City ones, if you sort of get caught being suspicious, the chance for you to get caught afterwards gets increased from that as well. So again, yeah, not really a big issue there. When Crystal Mask is refreshed, the pickpocketing count will also refresh as well, which then means that when you go to re-click on the monster, if you click your mask, that's also reset as well. So that's pretty nice. So thieving mechanics is something they've decided to explain as well. So when starting to pickpocket an NPC at any level, you'll start with a 75% success rate. In other words, chance of not being caught. Every +1 level you have from the base level to go and pickpocket something, that's going to give you another +1% on the success rate, all the way up to 100, and then you'll go from there. Additionally, most pickpocketing targets have an extra 10 level boost for your next 10 pickpockets. These are pretty much the free pickpockets you're going to get. And after that, your success rate will drop by 0.33%. So they've amended this from 1% to 0.33, which should really hopefully extend the amount of time you can AFK. Additional buffs, such as the exoskeleton outfit, crystal mask or magpie familiar, will give you invisible level boost on top, which will increase your success rate of a chance at your level. So for example, at level 90 thieving, you unlock dwarf traders with a base rate of 75% success rate. As you level up, this increases to 100% at 115 thieving, because again, one level equals 1%. In practice, this threshold is reached due to temporary level boost when pickpocketing a newly leveled target. So something like a Gobi Scavenger at level 102 thieving, there's not the gap for 25 levels there. So this will be 93% when you reach level 120 thieving, but if you have things like armors or stuff which will add to your boost, this can be achieved at 100% at level 127. So if you find things which are going to give you 7 levels of boost, that means you can have the 100% success rate from there. So if you have the Magpie Familiar, which is a +4, the Crystal Mask, which is going to be, I think it's 15 now, and then if you also have other stuff which is going to benefit you as well, it kind of made the exoskeleton outfit maybe the worthwhile outfit to go and thieve with as well. So that could also be a benefit there. So the specifics of the changes, the failure adjustment rate. To get pickpocketing back to a reasonable window of AFK caught by targets, will reduce the threshold for being caught, which is what we wanted. So down here, they've got some examples and some rough times of where things were. So this was the baseline with no buffs used, plus Crystal Mask, plus Lightform, plus Sarded Cloak, plus 5-finger discount. So you can see here at the minute, things like a Menophyte Guard on baseline no buffs used is 52 seconds, which, yeah, that's why it was so rough. Things like Fairy Traders as well, it's 52, and this was just the unlock sort of level. So as you see here, with the buffs, the time it sort of moves to is more reasonable, to be fair. It's decent AFK time. My big question would be, obviously the auras are going to go very soon. Once legendary 5-finger discount is gone, what is going to be the idea there? So the thing is, what I'll do, when this is released, when this is changed, we'll go and do a video where we're going to go and camp at things, probably like Menophyte Guards. Maybe we'll do Fairy Traders as well. Maybe we'll go and look at some different spots to see how different it is. But again, they're moving in the right direction. I've listened to players' feedback. They still wanted to reduce the AFK timer, which is fine. That's not an issue. But these times are a lot more reasonable for the people who don't want to play. Like, you don't want to be 100% all the time because you'll just burn out the game quite quick. Now, here, it doesn't include boosts like the Camouflage Outfit, Ring of Vitor, or Magpie, which can further boost the amount of time spent at AFK. So, Crystal Mask and Lightform now, whereas it's some spots you can get away without using, these are going to have to be pretty much, like, needed to get some decent AFK time. So, Sticky Fingers Relic, we've already mentioned that. They're looking to adjust that so it's more useful. The messages for being caught, again, we've messaged that. And then re-engaging NPCs. It always made no sense to me that you could pickpocket the same NPC and they wouldn't realise. So, like, sort of mentioning that is quite a good point, actually. Kind of makes thieving, like, a bit more understandable, for a better word. And then also XP and loot as well. They're kind of like adjusting stuff for XP and loot. With low-level methods, we normally like to give them less XP and or GP. And again, this is what people were saying, like, especially with these methods, we're not too bothered about the GP. As long as there's some form of GP, what you're sort of doing these thieving methods for, especially for like the Menophytes, you're doing them for clues and you're doing them for pure AFK XP, which you wouldn't have got anyway. Like, the fact it's AFK and you don't have to pay attention, it's just a bonus. Like, if you didn't have that method, you might not have even logged in at all, but you're doing it for AFK XP. Can pretty much be whatever it is. It's just AFK XP you wouldn't have got anyway. So that is pretty much going to be the majority of it. they're going to sort of look at the loots as well to around 70% of current rates. Yeah, it is what it is. So it's a pretty big and detailed blog, actually. For something which has sort of been a feedback and a mistake, they've really put some detail into this and come back, which, don't get me wrong, I think they needed to because of how badly received this thieving thing was. But let me know what you guys think. Obviously, I'll put the link into the blog on the description. Go and have a read, go and see what you think. But I think the fact that changing the AFK times is the important thing here. Yes, we might get a little bit less loot. Yes, we might get a little bit less XP. But I think we can all really sort of say, after 120 Thieving was released, we all knew it was a bit too good to be true on the XP front and also on the loot front as well. And that's why so many people, me included, went and did Thieving straight away because it was almost a bit too good to be true. However, the good thing from this as well is the Jagex are now looking and listening to the feedback we're giving on all the updates. Should this have been a thing? No, it should have been sort of highlighted at the stage when it was going through in terms of like updates and stuff. Or it should have been mentioned when they were looking at the early game refreshes. Or they shouldn't have released the updates when they saw the feedback from when they were doing the sort of development blogs a little bit earlier on as well. However, we can only sort of take the good from it, and hopefully when this is released, we can go and have a look, have a thieve, and see how good it is from there. But I'm going to wrap the video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys very soon in my next video.